Okay, you're gonna help me do an introduction to explain our video, or not video, our audio. Hello, Mother.
What are you talking about now?
What are you talking about now? So, I've been trying to do an introduction the last few days to explain before I post the actual audio of what we're planning to share, and I've realized that I can't. I get completely stuck whenever. See now, even when I have something pre-planned that I need to speak about, and I have a few things, then I cannot do it. When it's improvised and we're just flowing and natural, but as soon as I sense that I'm not being natural, it bothers me so much that I just stop, and my mind goes blank.
Well, I think the freedom is to keep the subject that you want to talk about in mind, but not to monitor yourself so much. And remember that you always can not post this. There is not final.
No, I know that, but right now I wanted to explain with our last recording, the one that I want to share with the book, with Paul Selig's book that we're interpreting. Because if I just start the recording where it is, it's again kind of, and this happens a lot in our videos, because we don't, or they're not videos, they're audio recordings, but on YouTube they're video posts. So because we usually don't have a set topic to talk about, or we plan, necessarily we're going to share this, we've just been turning on the recorder, then later there's no really introduction that makes it clear to the listener what the hell are these two talking
then
about.
We have to tell listener.
That's what we're doing.
That we're inviting you to our room.
Yes.
Welcome to the cuckoo nest.
Yes.
And trying to get it, because sometimes we even have a hard time to get it when we listen. When we listen, after, recording, we're like, wow, and.
Yeah, we weren't planning necessarily.
Yeah, you have to understand that we are not necessarily sitting with a piece of paper and points about to talk. It's just flowing.
Yeah, and it actually, but the problem I always have is that I've realized that the beginning, which should be technically for a listener the strongest because it captivates your attention, right? And you kind of know what someone's about to speak about. A lot of times the beginning is the worst part because we just sat down, started kind of talking, and from there it does start flowing and things become clear. So I just wanted to tell the listener, give it a second, you'll figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah, just join the mystery, because it's a really mystery for us even sometimes, because how this subject all of a sudden become a topic. Yeah. We talk about something else and then all of a sudden we're going deep to the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then it's the channeling all of a sudden happening when you cut into the different state of mind or consciousness, and we already recognizing when different energy going through our vocal and through our body.
That's another thing that a lot of times when at the beginning of certain recordings we're just talking fast, normal, I'm still inserting my likes and like and here and like, which I don't like.
Me either.
But then when I go, because I have been connecting in the last few years where I am, for lack of a better word, I'm using channeling, but I am not channeling entities or something. It's just feels automatic. Like I'm actually just communicating with the higher self, higher collective family. And there's a different type of wisdom, and it seems the higher, for lack of, again, a better word, I go, the slower I begin to speak. It's much more heart-connected. It usually becomes very, very simple, what is coming through.
And very powerful.
And profound.
Yeah.
Then there's, usually when I'm streaming information, it's very fast. I'm speaking too fast, almost, because it's just coming automatically. But it's a different type of information then. So yeah, we've been learning too, because I know that I talk most of the time right now in some of the recordings, but we're learning how to, like my mom right now, she's recognizing when the information is coming more for me, where it's not just a conversation anymore, I'm receiving something, like a transmission.
And also, like right now I know you're gonna yell at me that I was eating the nuts, because this will probably be recorded, or sometimes the dogs going in their action.
Yeah.
But I think, look at this as a beauty of, real world, because we're probably going to find
and we're learning, we'll improve.
The balls or strength to also start making a video of
the
ours.
Balls.
So,
the balls.
The balls.
Mother's got the best accent. I love it.
What accent?
What accent? I don't have an accent either. Yeah.
So this is something that...
And we have ideas. We're gonna transition to video. That's another plan. And I know that for me, I want to start learning how to be comfortable in front of... I've never done that, speaking in front of a camera.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. My problem is that you guys probably gonna see me all the time in some very comfortable outfit, but not necessary,
Dress you up.
Dress you up.
You're gonna be like the fashionable, spiritual...
I can be, but that's not the point. So...
Yeah. No, we'll do video.
Think about that you are present in our little kingdom of craziness and concept, and if you like what we say, let us know.
And if you don't like what we say, don't let us know.
Well, don't listen. Just don't listen, because there is a lot of information that I listen and I agree with, and some of them I don't, and I try not to be mean, because the information that I don't like might actually be very important for some other people.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between being a troll and being someone who's giving constructive criticism or different perspective.
Yeah, we are open for that.
Yeah, but we're putting, I think it's important time for everyone, speak your truth. Speak your truth, like, whatever it is, we don't have to be perfect, we don't have to say things perfectly all the time. It doesn't matter if, you stutter or say the word wrong, or... That's life. That's the beauty of life, the mess of life, the authenticity. It doesn't have to come out perfect all the time. So we're learning. We're learning a lot through just, even
we're learning
hearing.
About the technicality.
Well, yeah, editing is a pain in the ass sometimes when you want to
how
cut something.
Not to, to speak loud enough, or not too loud, or not to have some background noise that we didn't notice.
Or we went to pee.
In the
and
meantime.
The toilet, I'm talking about some deep philosophical, and then mother's pee stream in the bathroom. I'm like, I can't post this now. So, yes.
We're learning.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I guess that's
Let's leave it at that, because this is supposed to be an introduction, and it looks like it's going to be a whole nother post. Adios.
Aloha.
After we said goodbye, aloha, I realized we didn't actually say what the introduction was supposed to be. So, and now see, distraction, human life. Why is this ringing? Can you turn it silent for a second? Is that going to be silent? I was going to ring in a second.
Silent.
Okay, so the post that we're going to do, we began with reading just a couple of pages of Paul Selig.
First of all, Paul Selig's books, which I highly recommended for people who are asking the question about what this whole universe is about in our life. It's one of the most intriguing and beautiful and powerful books. And every year one book is coming. Right now it's I don't even know which number, but the latest book called Alchemy. And so I decide to read this book little by little, and then me and my daughter, Galicia, we kind of not maybe analyzing, because this is kind of bold, not necessary right word for that, but just to feel it with our own words.
It's gonna be just hang in. It's going to be a couple of sentences of me reading a book, but we're gonna have some interesting discussions that are gonna come from that. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify it, and that's where that's gonna flow
Hallelujah.
From. So hang in there. Hallelujah. Oh, let me just say one more thing, that the sound quality in what is about to play, it's gonna get much better after like 3 minutes. So we're still kind of walking around and clinging and clanging with some stuff, but just give it a second, and the sound quality is gonna be much better. All right, here we go. Okay, so you're reading from the Alchemy book of Paul Selig, the Word?
Yeah. I want you to read it and maybe analyze sometimes a little bit for me. They're short chapters and they're so beautiful and powerful, but I don't think we should record this right now.
I always delete it.
Okay. Can I see it different way?
When the light, from here, when the light exits in the shadowed room, the room becomes brilliant. To have shadows, you have to have light. Light illuminates the shadows. So it's bringing the darkness to light, really. The room becomes brilliant. The room is it's the exposure, really, of what is happening right now. The light is basically existing in a very shadowed room in this whole reality right now. So everything is brought illuminated. In that brilliance, the first thing you will see is that which has been excluded from the light, that will seek to scamper up the walls and through the cracks and save itself, its small identity, from the vibrancy that has been brought. So what I said before, that the dark, it doesn't want to be seen. Our shadows, they don't want to be seen. They want to escape. Yeah. But we have already learned the lesson of what will happen if we don't integrate. So scamper up the walls through the cracks to save itself, its small identity. Because it is a small identity. They are very insecure. They are in fear. Anything that is in fear is going to have a small identity. Small identity. Okay. To realize the divine self is to expose what has been hidden and what the shadow has held. Well, I have a shadow self, don't I? He inquires. That is appropriated language. The idea of shadow self, as understood today, are those aspects of self that are claimed in shadow and are in fact cherished there. We don't cherish the shadow, we illuminate the shadow. Mm-hmm. And you can't illuminate the shadow when the shadow is judged. Yeah. So this is kind of what we were speaking about yesterday, where I said in this, it's a different, it's what I said about divinity. That in 3D reality, those that are, let's say, murdering children and torturing them and all of that, there is nothing divine in that. Yeah. But from the higher source perspective, when you keep going, you will see the divinity in them as well. Because again, you will see you will actually see the whole story of that being. So you will also see the journey of that being, where it's climbing out of being that kind of level of darkness, of that kind of perpetrator. But you will see. Because if everything is love, then eventually they have to change too. And when you see their story of how they came out of the dark and went back to the light, then from that perspective, you will see the divinity. But it's the same thing here with the words, we don't cherish the shadow. The shadow, it's not divine, but you illuminate it, so you don't judge it. Yeah. You see, because not to judge means that you understand how someone can end up in the place that they are, and with the trauma or whatever they're expressing.
It's like we understand, from the higher perspective, that we come from the same source. There is no separation in God. God is in every single thing. There is something that it leads them to that separation. Whatever happened to them in their journey, they separate and fragmented so much that they completely But remember I told you about this guy from that documentary movie, the one who was leaking the toilets and stuff? And he say in the end,
okay, so it was a documentary about fetish, kind of crazy
fetish, but it was very, very expensive New York, secret place where very, very high elite, powerful people coming, mostly men, to do some weirdest possible things.
Which
and very
is a common case.
And very often they need to be humiliated. Mm-hmm. They need to be, put down. And, the guy asked this guy, of course, his identity was hidden. And he say, if this place don't exist, I will do 100 times worse things. So he's aware of the darkness in him and how he is.
I was thinking about that the same right now, like trolls, internet trolls. because internet trolls are people that are just going online. They're constantly just sitting for hours at home posting hate, comments, bullshit comments. Besides that, the system also has the, artificial technology that is also kind of, doing certain things like that. But there's also people. But then I thought about the same thing. Every anger, every emotion, because that comes to troll somebody, you have to have unexpressed emotions.
Yeah.
It comes from childhood emotions being invalidated. So all of their anger, all their frustrations, because it's often very petty, and there's no talking with them. It's like a child that is having a tantrum. And
they grow up with the family most of the time that they were practically, they don't understand love. They don't understand, they understand power. They watch their parents, they watch the parents' friends, they treat the nanny like shit, people who are supposed to be the most rewarded, exactly somebody who take care of your child, they treat them like shit,
Well, I think actually trolls, for the even more part, are the ones that were ignored. Like the one that comes from the families that they were more invisible. I mean, it's both, but, because it's going to be all kinds of traumas and different levels, but especially those kinds, like the people that turn into weird, next thing you know, they go and shoot up the school or something, and a lot of times, but I realized that those people, through that trolling, they are releasing the same how you're saying that the guy
the frustration.
Go and he said, if this didn't exist, I would go and do things 100 times worse. So again, we have to ask ourselves, why do these trolls exist, and why do they exist in such huge, amounts? That this is even something that all of us have to face, because every person that is speaking publicly about anything, having a platform on any subject, has a certain percentage of, all right, here come the trolls. And they just want to, it's a feeding. It really is. It's like the child going, I know you are, but what am I? And just to be like a freaking annoying thing that you can't, a tick that you can't shake off. But it's just trauma. So, and that way, those things, as we don't need to focus how to fix them. We need to focus on how we fix ourselves, and then they will cease to exist, because love will start existing. So they will start being seen, and the amount of trolls will slowly start diminishing. The amount of sexual fetishes and people having to be humiliated and lick toilets will cease to exist, because it'll be a balanced reality. There's a unexpressed wound inside of those people, which they were probably the ones that had to have straight A's and were the type of control parents, They had parents like the army, and, you have to do this, have to do that. So they feel like that is their way to not have to be in that position all the time of, power and boss. And but yeah, I mean, we can go deeper into that, but
American Beauty.
If you want to just talk, because I'm recording, and then I can't hear you because you're all the way far.
Sitting right now.
You said American Beauty, the movie?
Yeah, it just come to me. You remember that father?
Yeah, the army guy.
Yeah, the army guy, and he was gay, and he hid himself, affection and everything.
Well, I mean, you could see this globally, like Japan, China, they're the most perverted, and the most, all the Asian porn. Oh, daddy. They don't say daddy, they say...
Whatever they say.
Stop it. Like infantile.
Yeah.
So, it's just going more and more into... And violent, they're violent. India, what the men start doing over there. The more you suppress anything, the more it's gonna come out in in all kinds of ways. So it wasn't illuminated, you see. So that's why it's like, if you illuminate things in time, if you put them to light in time, if you make them brilliant in time, that they could be healed before they go into such polarities and perversions and patterns of having to release the pain, addictions, everything. So we don't cherish the shadow, we illuminate the shadow. And you can't illuminate the shadow when the shadow is judged. So we got that. Do you understand this? Yes. Nothing is lifted to the upper room when it is damned, when it is put in darkness, or when you wish to pet it like a dark, I don't know what is this word? Finded? Oh, a dark finded friend. Yeah, nothing is because it'll separate when you damn something, whatever it is, that part, whether it's an aspect of ourselves or a behavior or whatever it is, you will want to hide it. So it can never be, as long as you damn it, and that is everything here. It's guilt and shame. We are literally like in a reality where everything, we have so much shame and guilt that the shadow and stuff, it went so much into the polarity. So we also have to see that it is our fault, and fault is not the right word, but the everything that exists, the darkness, it is our fault that it got to that kind of extent as a collective. No, it's not each of our, it's not my fault that kids are getting tortured, but as a collective that we judged so much, that pain aspect, that's what's so important for the light workers, not to go into the light worker polarity, because that is what keeps this reality going in the torture that it does, more than what the dark is doing, because that's what causes the separation, is the damnation. You're not good enough, you're not, instead of
it's
helping,
it's everything,
or helping someone why they feel that way, or help them through something, you separate. And obviously it's difficult in this reality because we let it go so far that everybody is just tired and numb, and in so many fear programs and lifetimes of when we did step in for one another and we got punished and we got burned at the stake for standing up for. So we have to really realize and forgive the aspect of us that didn't, that part where it is our fault, but it's also not our fault, because on one we have to see the trauma that was caused that made us not take action anymore. And then you have the system that is dividing us, which when they divide us, then they know that we won't act, because as long as we're divided, then we get punished, each and every one of us. You see, then that's what happens, right? When we're divided and I start, let's say, speaking up on something, I'm going to be either said she's crazy, put in a mental hospital, all the things that they do to people, killed off, and no one will even notice. But if we all start waking up, and more of us, then it's less, and that's what's happening right now as a collective. That is the Great Awakening, where a number of people wake up to that truth, that information, then they cannot punish all of us anymore. That's why it has to be, it's an individual awakening, but it's a collective action.
Yeah. Well, last night when I meditate, you see that things coming back to me. I was saying things like, and it comes like almost automatically, like I wasn't even aware, like say, what will be the healing for, let's say, hatred? What will be the word? And I say compassion. And then I say for pain, compassion. And I start saying, I sent my pain to meet with compassion. I sent my anger to meet with compassion. Everything actually was compassion, because compassion can heal every single aspect of that. Because before I was thinking like intellectually, okay, hatred, then gotta be love, right? No, everything was actually compassion.
Well,
it starts with the compassion. Without compassion, there is no love.
I agree, but I disagree in the sense of that everything starts with compassion in 3D, because you are an old soul. This will be true to you because you have learned compassion through each of those.
I was talking
Hold on a
about
second.
me.
Yes, no, I know you're talking about you.
I understand that people need to get angry. The people need to make a steps, you know, and go through all kind of phases of emotion
Yeah, that's important.
to heal. Yeah, I understand. But
See?
I was saying about, you know, when we're gonna start seeing ourselves and each other with compassion. With compassion, that's when the forgiveness start. That's when the healing start. That's where, you know, we will be available to stop judging, looking at each other like, oh my God, we're all victims, you know, or we just choose to play some amazing, crazy, you know, painful and fantastic game. So there is a compassion because we are amazing players in this case. So I do understand what you're trying to say, because
I'm just saying, like, how many feelings, even in ourselves, have we gone through before you had? We've only, even now, I could say, I've experienced moments of where I look at myself and I'm just, oh my God, I feel so much compassion for myself, true compassion.
Yeah.
Like those, but it's moments. Then we slip back into our patterns where we are still damning ourselves and things, and it's going to be a process. So that's all I'm saying. That's completely true what you're saying. Compassion is the highest form of, it's even, because that's true recognition. When you can hold compassion, then you are recognizing, because that's where you recognize where a behavior can come from. But all I'm adding is that in 3D reality, you will always want to, whatever is going to be the next vibration up from where you are. So let's say if you're in depression, anger is a higher frequency
and
than
the Abrahams
depression.
was teaching that,
Yeah.
and they were saying, you know, you need to, that's better than depression.
Yeah.
Anger, then you start looking for solution, that's, you know, or something, you know, it's better than anger. And
Like the chaos right now that this world is, you know, going through and gonna be going through. It's, by the way, it's 2020 of what month are we? September. Today is 12th. Yeah, September 12th, 2020. It's better, even though a lot of people don't realize it right now, but it's better than the asleep repetition hamster wheel that we were, you know, most people and have been spinning on and completely unaware of. So even though it seems, and some people won't see, because when you just see somebody angry, let's say you run into somebody angry on the street, maybe you don't know that they were depressed the day before and that they are actually healing through that anger, but you're going to damn them and say you shouldn't be angry without knowing, that's the judgment, what they even have been through, you know? And maybe our whole world too, where they could say, even let's say the angelics up top that have never, let's say the ones that have never been in physical, they could judge us and say, what the hell, this chaos that they're creating? What is this chaos that they're creating? But they don't, if they haven't been in a physical form, they can't quite, but you don't know where we came from to end up having to go, and that's a step. We are moving towards the improvement.
Well, that's what I say yesterday too. I was like, you know, I'm using the power of my free will, the gift, you know, my birthright gift, that please intervene, because we need help as much as we can right now. We're crying, whatever. We as representing Gaia, or, you know, we need help. And I say, if you can, we're crying for help. And yeah.
But simultaneously, we can only do that because we recognize that we are the help as well.
Yeah,
That's why
it's not
like
about doing a job for us, but just also supporting us right now.
Exactly.
It's about supporting us. We do want to wake up. We do want to change this reality. We do want to have a different reality. We do see the pain. We do still start to understand, but we need help right now, because otherwise.
And that's what was the whole thing with on the more macro, where Gaia herself cried out, I need help, because it got to the point where, and that's the separation of, you know, this goes pretty far in esoteric and, you know, all kinds of levels, layers, but where the masculine and feminine separated, and then the feminine was wounded so much that the feminine started taking on a non-divine masculine form, where it started becoming an aggressive female energy a female energy, because female is powerful, because female is the, but when it's out of balance, it can even cause more harm than an imbalanced masculine. But it got to, because then it got like, oh, it was so wounded by that other side that I don't need you until I could do it myself. And that's all of us on a, micro, macro, and Gaia and the whole universe. We have to actually say, no, we do need each other. We need each other, and it's not a weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength and wisdom. Yeah, it's a completion. It's wisdom and strength to realize that that's the greatest strength, is to recognize that is the connection, the flame, the coming together to co-create. Otherwise, you start existing in something that is like a fake reality, because you separate so far. All right, I'm floating off into, now I'm going into artificial realities, but that's what it became on the other timeline.
Few sentences.
Okay. Got through half the page. Okay, so when you damn things, you put it in the darkness, right? Damn, when you put it in darkness, or when you wish to pet it like a dark, offended friend.
Yeah, when we kind of like
placate it, and you see, it wants to be darkness, it wants to be respected.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. I was looking for the right word, because otherwise we're like kind of
pity it.
Yeah.
You don't give it recognition of why you shame it, even if you're trying to help it, because that's what petting is. That's the parent that comes in, oh, you shouldn't feel that way, and it's okay, it'll pass. Like, you're not really giving that dark emotion or whatever that they're going through true recognition. It's still nice to be pet rather than nothing at all, but that is still going to cause shame, and that's still not going to fix that aspect from wanting to hide itself. Okay, dark friend. I will protect you, my lass, from the horrifying light that would take us from each other. It's interesting, because look how this is connecting now to what I'm talking about. I was just talking about the separation of masculine and feminine, right? And that's not sex, it's energy. It's masculine and feminine. It's not about gender, it's about the different types of energy. But what was the division? The horrifying light that would take us from each other. You see, because you cannot. I think what I'm understanding, the horrifying light is that type of light, the petting kind of light, the light worker kind of light.
Yeah,
you should.
It's turning off. I mean, like, I even can say for myself, it takes me a long time before I step into the spiritual, for no better word, community, because I was expecting that they're gonna be some people that are gonna learn so much, and then I discover lots of fakeness there, and lots of bullshit practically.
Which is a really good spiritual lesson, actually.
Yeah, it's an amazing lesson for me, and actually it's a very empowering lesson for me. But it was shocking in the same time that I feel more judged there, and exactly like ignore. If you want to say something that it's painful, they immediately shutting down. You have this experience with our old friend, no, you're not supposed to feel this way. Oh no, focus on the positive, focus on this, why are you going to the darkness? And
I'm not going to darkness, I'm going to truth. This is truth, these are facts. This is what is happening. How can we find a solution and bring it to light?
So I understand.
It's different if I'm sitting and imagining a dark reality. That's being dark.
It's even more painful, actually, to be
judged by these people, because you will think like, okay, we're sharing something together here. We come from the same, we have the same idea about how we want to see the reality, but in the same time, we're doing this war between us about who is bigger God, who is bigger goddess, and all these fashion things, wearing particular things. I was thinking for a short period of time for that too. But no, I understand this clearly.
Yeah, plus it's an escape. It's the easier way out to deny your own, just focus your bubble positive, and you think you're a master in your positive padded reality, when the reality is the kids that are part of you. If we're all one, you're running around claiming these big spiritual concepts, oneness, we're all one, love, peace, blah, 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 putting on your sparkles and fairy wings and frolicking at festivals and this and that. But then somebody that is looking at truth that is happening, that is suffering, being caused, those kids are not creating right now in 3D their own reality. They are victims in 3D. Yeah. Free will in this level of three-dimensional reality has been hijacked. Free will was the plan. Free will does exist in the 5th dimension and beyond. But here, in 4D, 3D, 4D being between in the dream realms and such, it does not exist. It has been infiltrated and hijacked. We are bringing back our free will. That's why it's half and half right now. That's why we still have some control and choice and some illusion of free will here, which we're breaking the illusion right now. That's why we are in that point of awakening on this timeline, and we're creating a different reality where we are going to gain back the true free will. And the true free will is wisdom. It's not I can do whatever I want and it's only now. No, it's wisdom, having awareness of past, present, and future existing in the now, having access to your history, having access to your future, and then knowing how everything affects the collective, how every action.
Responsibility, you know that you are a creator, period. When you know that you are a creator, you choose your thoughts and words and action completely different way, because you know it affect not only you, but affect everybody around. That's your reality. You become a responsible, conscious, living being.
But you have to have the full story.
Yeah, of course.
Because right now there are a lot of, let's say, dark, aware of that they are creators, that they can manipulate reality, but they want to manipulate reality for just the now. That's the bullshit too, and the light worker. And on the other side, they use and I didn't grasp that either. I said now, but just now. It's only now. No, the now is everything. The now contains the future and the past.
Yeah.
And when you have the full story, you need the full story, because otherwise you don't have enough of the picture to understand. That's the wisdom. That is coming back to our full Akashic record. That is the access to the truth. That's where we can become telepathic, transparent with one another, and start creating realms where we can have that kind of free will. Here, we are here to bring the free will back. I don't know why I just thought about Free Willy. Remember the movie Free Willy? I don't know why that's where he's like jumps Free Willy. Well, I can never watch those kind of animal things that's like crying, traumatized. So today with the movie Babe and can't do it. Okay, let me finish this page and I can't talk anymore. Okay, so protect you from the horrifying, to take us, the light that would take us from each other. You see, because even in my own self, if you give me that kind of horrifying light, but look at yourself, look at your problems, look at what you are, you should be different, you need to change this about yourself, instead of true light, which is the light of recognition and non-judgment, then I am going to separate in my own self, I'm going to fragment. Mm-hmm. This whole reality understands that mind control is mastered
another
here.
Mask.
Yeah, and to the point where it can be with my own self. You can inflict such trauma, which is what, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of, hardcore mind control and fragmenting, that is exactly what happens. You fragment to the point where you can have different personalities speaking different languages. So, And that's what we also are on a collective. We've been taken away from each other. Anything brought to the light is brought anew. Well, if you bring something to true, I don't know if I'm correct with my understanding, but if you illuminate now something with real light, the light that is the light of non-judgment and compassion and all of that, that is the light of the full story. That's what I said, your past, present, future. And then you can create the new. That is free will. You don't have free will if you don't have all of your story.
Yeah.
If your memories have been manipulated and you don't remember who you are, and you are fed pieces of this, that with, other traumatized fragments have tried to make you do, then you cannot create new.
If I will read this
you are
book,
looping.
If I will read this book, just few page here, one page there, and the end, I have some pieces, but I don't have a whole picture.
Yeah.
And I can operate only on the basic of these pieces.
Yeah. And that's why we are looping in this reality, because the hamster wheel, because that's the mind control, it locks us in where we are not creating a new, because we're not getting a full life review. It hasn't been brought to the light. When we die and we go, lots of souls are being forced, reincarnated back, and they replay the same freaking movie that's why so many of us feel like we're in a Truman Show, because we are in a Truman Show. A lot of us have done this and done this and done this. And now there's enough light where things can be illuminated truly without the judgment, with love. And that's why lots of us older souls will be helping the newly awakened light workers realize that the shadow has to be looked at. The shadow has to be respected, recognized, and respect is not cherished. What he said, respected is different. That's where you recognize where it comes from. You say, I see you, I will wait however long, I see you, what can I do? Or just hold simply space. Whatever that aspect needs, that aspect will tell you what it needs. But it does not want to be belittled and shamed and all of that. And that's also within your own self. When you're working with your own traumas and triggers and things, we have to keep that same mentality as somebody else coming in, and we cannot judge those aspects in our own self. So yeah, it's important, because the brought anew, that's what's happening. When we get the full picture, past, present, and future coming together, then we get the key, the master key, where we can truly create the new reality, where we can become creators again. Because here we are not truly creating something new. We are recreating the stuff that's already been on this wheel over and over again, and we're just remelding pieces. And there is still some new within that. There's a percentage of that, because that light that's coming in, it's taking those old spinning pieces, because even us that have that memory, that access, that light, we still are traumatized. We've still been through many lives. We have a bunch of DNA trauma triggers, all of it. But we are kind of blending it right now with that new. And as we do that slowly, we will all get to the point. That's why we are all going to become creators of the new. We're going to take out of the well of darkness, of that vortex, spinning tornado or whatever at the very bottom, the darkest hole. It's eventually going to be brought to the light so we could create a new, because as long as we leave somebody behind, we cannot truly create a new, because the story will be incomplete.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a pause. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.